Alright y'all, welcome back to episode 3 of the Joe Painting Smash series. Today's character is Pokemon Trainer, but I didn't grow up with the Pokemon Trainer. I grew up with Ash Ketchum. He is the Pokemon Trainer. So we're going to sidestep a little bit and we're going to draw Ash. We're going to paint Ash. Let's see. This one was a lot of fun. I'll talk about it in the episode, but these paint pens don't really allow for this extreme range of depth. So we really have to be choosy about what marks we're making on the page. So I'm finishing up here. Let's dive in and I'll show you all the decisions I made with my paint pens on the canvas. Thanks. See you in a minute. Alright, welcome back to Smash series. Again, we're still using our Posca paint pens. And lucky for us, we have Ash's skin tone right here in a pen. No mixing involved. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with his face. How you doing today, Ash? You look determined. And luckily this white colored pencil, it agrees with our paint pens and this whole process. It doesn't create a waxy surface that repels the paint and makes it dry a certain funky way. It seems to just get covered right up, which is nice. But it also holds up and I can still sort of see these lines through my paint, which is nice too. And as we add layers, those will continue to drop further and further back until they disappear. Hopefully that's the goal. So usually I just kind of outline where I want to make some final line work or final shapeage. Again, it's not final, but just to get it to stage the next. Do it with just the tip, and then I'll go in with my side and fill in. Use those big broad strokes. And for those of you that want to paint along, or set up something similar, I think this table was like 70 or 80 bucks. It's just a really simple beginner drawing table. And under here I have, a lot of people call it Lazy Susan. It's just a little round surface that spins real freely. And I got that for like 4 or 5 bucks on Amazon. And I just took some gaff tape or duct tape, whatever you have, put that down. I got some Velcro dots on the back of this that hold it to that round surface, but they also Velcro up to the main roster wall. So basically I'll just Velcro it here, it hangs on how I want, I get to rotate it how I want. So this is his white collar. I'm just going to fill this in and I'll come back in later. You've seen me in the past, I'll do like the main paint job and everything, and then finally I'll do a pass of like a white or black, some more line work just to really make it pop, give it that contrast. And luckily, the reference I'm using, it's from the show, the TV series, Indigo League, I believe what they call it these days, but it was just Pokemon back when I was a little dude. The shadows, we don't really have a gradient of light and shadow here. They're very hard color transitions, which are the shadow and the highlights. So we won't have to go from like a dark gray to a white and have 6 grays in between that. It's basically 1 gray, 1 white. And that's really the boundaries we set for our lighting. So this one should be pretty simple. We'll get in here and just get these fabrics flowing. And use my chisel tip just to get into this corner. And if you have the smaller pens, you can come back in later and do those finer details. Right now you can just worry about the broad strokes. Look at this white part up here on the cap. So now I'll jump over to green, I'll let that dry. I'll go ahead and get this glove going. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this glove hand in first, and then I'm going to come down here with yellow and then do some green there. Maybe we'll get some cool mix there just to differentiate this green from this cuff, because there are two different greens. This one's like a spearmint green. Think of a stick of gum. Alright, gonna give this cuff a splashy yellow. So I'm going to jump to red, do the brim of his hat, and the side part of his hat. This is black hair. Alright, let's do it. I really think that he should have just put Ash in the game. I know it's a minor detail, but why not? Pokemon Trainer is just so lifeless. I know it's about Charizard, Squirtle, and is it Ivysaur? Alright, and then over here, we'll do our lighter blue. I like this light blue. But we got Ash's vest. I'm gonna skirt right next to this white. Oh, there's nothing. This little corner here is white as well, so cool. And then I'll go ahead and jump to my middle white, my 5M. This is where his vest meets the shirt, the white shirt. Beef up this peach a little bit. These, I've noticed, lay down a little more liquid. They seem thinner, but the big fat ones, they lay down a nice, even coat of pigment. And you'll see, like, it's kind of hard to distinguish these fingers right now. But like I said, we'll come in with our black or our white, however we want to outline these, or do the line work, and really give them some definition, some distinction. And to get this paint flowing, you have a little scratch sheet where you're clearing your brushes of all the excess paint that you don't want on there, or whatever. You can get this little press, the little tip depresses in, and it'll hopefully get that paint flowing again into the tip. Just give it a few seconds, it moves pretty slow. It's not water, it's got that pigment in it, so it's a little more sluggish. And if you leave your pens open and this dries, it gets clogged, so that way liquid can't flow as evenly and effortlessly as it is right out of the package. So make sure you're capping your pens airtight as best you can. We'll go ahead and move to our bigger peach, so we're not using up all that middle-sized peach. But you'll see as you add layers, you definitely tell there's a richer skin tone here than down here. This is very muddy. And I didn't do what I did here, up here, because he has a shadow from the brim of his hat, so. Because if you recall, this is what I did with Yoshi. When I was laying down the white in Yoshi, I built up the white where it was lighter and left this more translucent white, again, to create those shadows. But we don't do that here because this isn't the same sort of setup. I wasn't using the same kind of reference. And Ash is, an anime character after all. There's not a tremendous amount of intricate lighting in those shows. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just bridge this gap. It's a good idea in theory. Definitely keep that in your back pocket. Just know that you can do that. But we're going to go ahead and bypass. Alright, we're going to jump to our middle white, and we're going to fill our eyeballs in. Get that outline in, and I can just go in, fill in with my largest white pen. Start towards the center of mass and kind of get my stride with the pen, and then I just kind of scoot right up to the edge until it's the shape I want, if it fills all the gaps that I want. And since Ash's main homie is Pikachu, I'm going to give him a yellow aura. Like, that energy aura I gave Samus and Yoshi. I'm going to do the same thing, but Ash will have yellow. So now we'll jump back up here. I'm going to grab my smallest white pen. visit these corners. Some of these corners it'll be the first pass. So we might have to come back at a later point in this painting. And these canvases are pretty rough terrain, but even considering that, these delicate pens, especially the small one which has a plastic tip, intends to catch on this canvas, they're doing pretty well. They're pretty lenient. I feel like a lot of this, it looks very incomplete, but once I get that outline in here, I can get in his facial features and really define the hair. And I need to draw, he has some hair coming out this way, which is black on black, so that's why it's not there. But I'll really take the opportunity when I'm throwing in that yellow energy line to make that distinction so you can see that. But yeah, I think once we start getting our black lines in here, you go ahead and do that green up top. And I want to refine the edge a little more. The white's still a bit wet. I can see the green starting to spindle and seep into it. Not too hardcore, luckily. But we'll just go ahead and wait on that. And I'm going to grab my middle size green, same green, and just fill this sucker in. I think I am going to go in here with this green and just kind of create some shadow. Easy little outline. And luckily we can jump to our big green and just fill in these sections. Just going to finish off these edges here. We're going to grab our handy dandy fat yellow and start this process. Got those in there. I'm going to go to my smallest yellow and just fill these gaps in. Oh no, I forgot to do what I said I was going to do. That's okay, because black will overtake the yellow. So I got to put his little spike of hair out here, and then you know what, I can go ahead and do that. Shoop, shoop. Crisis averted. And then I'll fill that in with black once it's all dried up. For now, I'm gonna start with my smallest black. And where the yellow energy meets the drawing, I think I'm going to leave that open now. I might do, with Yoshi I did a white outline there, which is nice because it really accentuated the energy feel. But the black scene might be a disconnect. So we'll see. But where there's hair, that's where I'm going to go in with this pen and really start to just establish those lines. And then it cuts right here at an angle. Boom. Boom. So that's his neckline and his face. Go ahead and do it here. Oops. go ahead and just create the curve, the top and bottom curves with my eye. And that'll, what I'm trying to aim is, like if I were just to do a straight line here, you would see it, that would be a point. You would see the curve and then drop. That's not what we want. We want a nice, let me see if I can do it this way. So rather than doing curve and then a line, we're trying to create a nice ellipse as best we can with these pens on this texture. So I'm doing that top curve and the bottom curve, and I want that curve to go right around. Nice, got a nice fill here. Maybe beef this line a little bit. Like I said, we can come back in and use our white, chip away at that black a little more, make them thinner. If that's really a factor that makes Ash's likeness look like Ash. And I've talked about that a lot when painting or making art in general, especially with characters. It's cool to just draw them over and over again and just see like what lines, what colors, what shape relationships, what line relationships are interacting that are sort of focal points or sort of core elements of that character. All of these characters have very distinct shapes, and the voice acting for a lot of characters really is a huge portion of that, but just from recognizing a character from a distance, just a still image. And so as an artist, you'll take liberties with these things and say, okay, I know what that looks like, but then when you actually put it down on the page and you look at it, you're like, that's not that character. And that's where those discoveries are. You discover what it is about these very simple marks that really deliver an entire concept to you. Ash Ketchum, you look at this and you see Ash Ketchum and you see his entire career as a Pokemon trainer just from a couple lines. That's really powerful that an artist can do that. So we're going to go ahead and jump into, all we have left here is his nose. He's got these two little lightning bolts under his cheeks. We've got his mouth, and then I'll do my crazy little energy strand thing flowing out from him and some dots, and we'll call that a painting. But it's looking real good up there. Nice iconic little drawing. Let's see. I'll start with his mouth. His mouth comes from about there. And again, you can connect the dots as your best friend. And then again, these relationships between the proportions. I'm noticing between this corner of his eye, that's a hot point that my eye can tether to, as well as his mouth. The corner of his mouth is another point. Where do I put that dot? Do I put it here, way over here, down here, over here? If I were to put that dot anywhere else and connect it with a curve, it creates a myriad of different expressions. So what I'm going to do is, this dot is in relation to that dot. I'm sort of creating an imaginary line between the two and trying to match the angle of that line with my reference. I'm going to curve this up, and then a gentle do your best that the canvas will allow. I got some little bits of black dots stemming everywhere, but that's okay. Boom, baby. So this one is concave. So is this one, but it's a little more extreme. And then just make it happen. Not too happy with that one. But we'll keep it for now. That's something I can change very easily. Once it's dry, I can go in with my peach pen and just, I can really erase all of that if I wanted to and do it again, but it's doing the trick. I'm going to create some red dots. So this little motif thing is going to be reminiscent of Pikachu. So some little red star dots out here. Kind of gives it a comic book feel with those red dots on there. And I'm going to use my middle yellow and just start having fun with it. Just and then let's do this. Oh, Ash, you're looking fierce, dude. Like I said, you can come in here and pepper some more dots, some little pikas. I'll take my small yellow up here and just kind of give it a little more. Some more spindles, some more connectivity. Yeah, this fine one's where it's at. So yeah, I established my sort of larger, more vague electric points with my middle-sized yellow, and now I'm going in with my fine yellow. I'm really knocking it out of the park. This looks great. Electricity, you know, like nature's patterns are fractal, so you know, you can go out and stare at a tree, a really big old tree, and see how all of its limbs have climbed, and that's sort of a window into some tame electricity. But I'm just pulling, I'm creating this eclectic line from its origin, and then I'm branching off, and then I'm branching off of those branches. Woo! Alright, there you have it, folks. Ash Ketchum, aka Pokemon Trainer. Tune in next week and find out who's it going to be next. I don't know. Alright, have a great weekend, week, whatever it is, whenever you're watching this. Have a good life. How about that? Just have a good life.